Hello everybody, good morning and a very happy Wednesday to everyone. Did you get some rain yesterday? If you didn't, you probably messaged me on Facebook to let me know you didn't. But there was some really heavy rainfall again yesterday for parts of the area. If you feel like that you continuously miss out on the rain, you have multiple opportunities for today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, next Monday, next Tuesday, next Wednesday to get storms. We're in one of those summer-like patterns where we fire things up in the afternoon. Sometimes the coverage is a little more than other days, but like yesterday, when these storms start to collapse on themselves, they can create some gusty winds. There was some damage in Limestone County yesterday. Get a quick burst of wind up to like 50, 60 miles an hour with a little downburst, and that can cause some damage. I think there was some trees on houses yesterday. We had some coverage of it and some video of it this morning. But mainly just a lot of rain with it, and some areas have been soaked the last 2 days. Now, if you're at home and you're like, well, I haven't had one raindrop, that's more just bad luck than anything else. I don't know, can't steer these storms to where they need to be, I guess. But like in the Shoals, we talked about this on Monday, the Northwest Alabama Regional Airport, and the Shoals had 2.45 inches of rainfall, picked up another inch and a tenth yesterday, so almost 4 inches of rain at the airport. But there's some of you in Florence that didn't get rainfall on Monday but had a little bit yesterday. So unfortunately, the rainfall is not evenly distributed in the summertime, where some areas can get more than others. I had a solid soaker at my house yesterday, and I actually have a weather gauge where I can find out how much rain falls in my backyard. And I had 1.61 inches of rainfall, and I live in Northwest Huntsville, but you drive 15 miles to the airport, and the airport had 0.01. So you can see how it can vary across the area. And that's going to be the case again today. There'll be some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Where they pop up, you're going to have some heavy rain, the potential for gusty winds, and there'll be some lightning with it too, okay? Temperatures outside, not really taking off. We had some fog we had to burn off. There was some very dense fog this morning, so we had to cut through that. There's a little bit more cloud cover out there this morning than there has been the last couple of days. And we talked about this early in the week, how the temperatures by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday wouldn't be as hot. We've been hitting 95, 96 on a regular basis. But today, the warm-up has been a little bit slower. It's still really humid outside. But low to mid 80s right now. Last couple of days I've been doing weather extra. We were pretty much at 90 degrees already. So shaving off a little bit of the temperature for you, but still really humid. Still means your feels like temperatures, even if we have a high of 88 or 89, you feel like temperatures still 96, 97, 98, which is still uncomfortable for many of you. So temperatures very consistent this morning in the 80s. The fog, some areas this morning we're down to near zero visibility. The fog has obviously improved through the morning. You can see it on our cameras. You can see it if you go outside, but still a little bit of cloud cover out there. There's your heat index. We just talked about this. High temperatures, 80s to near 90, feel like 95 to 100. And if you don't have a storm today, you're just going to be humid and uncomfortable. If you have a storm, or even if a storm is near you, you can get a little bit of the outflow boundary from the storms, and it will cool your temperature and drop it. It did at my house yesterday. My temperature dropped from like 93 to like 79 while the rain was falling. It was still really humid, and when the rain moved out, the sun popped, the temperature responded right back and got to like 88, and it was like the humidity was even worse after the rainfall. I felt like a sauna outside. It was crazy. So radar is quiet right now. Not really a lot going on in terms of any kind of precipitation close by. Once again, any kind of storms that fire up will probably be right around 1 o'clock and then become a bit more numerous between 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The difference is the last couple of nights we get to like the evening hours and the rain backs off and the storms fizzle out quickly. Some of the forecast models have another push of showers in overnight tonight, so I don't want that to catch anybody off guard. So I kept a few isolated storms in the forecast overnight between about midnight and 4 a.m. And if you don't have a storm, we'll have some patchy fog and the temperatures in the low 70s. But those storms tonight, they'll be loud and they'll be bright and they'll be wet. And if you're trying to sleep, they may catch you off guard. But just so you know, there's a few storms tonight. That's a little bit different wrinkle in the forecast than we've had the couple of days prior, because the storms literally have almost turned off immediately once we get to about 7, 8 o'clock. There's still another little push of storms tonight that could possibly happen. Your storm chance will continue for Thursday and Friday. Same setup, same forecast, just not quite as hot. We're in the upper 80s, more clouds. We'll do that. Hey, Jameson from Priceville is in the house. Good to see you on, my friend. Hope all is well. Did you have any rain yesterday? a little bit in Priceville. I was watching the radar. I was actually busy. I had some stuff going on I had to do, but I was watching the radar. I was definitely watching it when it was hitting my house. But it kind of looks like it kind of went up and over the Hartselle area a little bit in Priceville area. But Decatur had some rain, though. Pryor Field had some rain recorded, but that's obviously not downtown Decatur. Chase said, solid storm here, 43.72 crossed yesterday evening. Wind got up for a little bit. Yeah, you know, the winds gust 30, 40. We call it like they're not like severe thunderstorm warnings. There are a whole bunch of, they're called special weather statements the National Weather Service issues. And I call them SWSs in-house for keep it simple. But usually they're issued for winds like 30, 40. It's mainly just to let you know that a thunderstorm's coming and it's going to impact your area. And that's pretty much what the last 2 days have been, is a whole bunch of special weather statements. And they come out, they're heavy rain. They're just typical thunderstorms. And sometimes they can add a little bit of extra wind when they start to collapse on themselves. But most of the rainfall has been the primary concern. The winds, yeah, a little bit. And obviously we don't want any kind of lightning. We don't want you to be outdoors during lightning. Lightning safety all comes down to common sense. Take cover, right? We don't want you out on the lake. We don't want you in a pool. We don't want you at a water slide. We don't want you anywhere where you could be in jeopardy. And remember too, the storm doesn't have to be on top of you. Lightning could be like 10, 15 miles away from you and still impact you. So, Skylar, there was no small tornado yesterday, Skylar. Please don't write that because that's misinformation, okay? There was no small tornadoes yesterday. You had a microburst, you had a little downburst, you had a collapsing thunderstorm that produced heavy rainfall near Athens. There was no tornadoes yesterday. Please don't write that. Jameson, it missed our house in Priceville. We live close to the Tennessee River Bridge. Oh yeah, it went up and over you, right? It looked like if you get, so the way the storms fire up, southwest to northeast, right? So what happens is where these storms start to pop, once they get on that little track, they start kind of building off of each other. So they build off their own little outflow boundaries, and you see a storm pick up. And that's why some of you are like, I haven't had any rain at all. If you're not like on that train track, so to speak, and you're off the track, they just go right on by you. And yesterday, once one popped, they all kind of fed off of each other. And you can always look back. Like I can look back at the estimated rainfall radar, what we had fall across the area. And the last 2 days, you can actually see where those rain tracks are, where the storm started and where they finished. And then you can see the gaps as well, where some areas are like in Madison, for instance, well, I didn't get anything. I mean, we had that downburst, that strong wind gust in parts of southwest Athens. And there's some of you who live in southeast Athens, and I know this because I talk to you all the time, and you're like, I didn't even have a raindrop. I mean, that's how close it can be. I mean, one part of Athens had some gusty winds, and I know Athens is big. Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of how these storms play out, where some areas are like waving the white flag. I've had enough rainfall, and then there's other areas that are like, where's my rain? So my garden is soaked. I do know that, but it can vary, Skylar. It depends on how strong the burst is. We had one I think it was in Gunnersville last summer that was like almost 90 miles an hour. I had one in Connecticut one time that was 90 miles an hour. Sometimes they're only 50, 60 miles an hour, but they can still cause damage because it's a rush of wind coming to the ground. They're actually just the opposite of a tornado, 180-degree difference. Instead of pulling up, they're dropping down. The winds are coming straight down instead. So, but like, yeah, I mean, like, sometimes these little downbursts, I mean, they can cause as much damage as a EF0 tornado. But if we don't say the word tornado, usually everyone's like, oh, well, it's just wind, it's just rain. But they can cause damage, and they caused some damage yesterday in Athens. We had the video yesterday, and it looked like a couple trees nicked some houses. There was like one house that looked like the roof had kind of dented in with the gutter kind of hanging down, and you could see the tree kind of clip the house as it fell down. So it was a pretty good-sized tree, too, by the way. But yeah, I mean, there are a variety of ways that thunderstorms can cause damage. It doesn't have to always be a tornado. It can be straight line winds. It could be these little microbursts, downbursts. It can be flash flooding, which unfortunately we've seen too much of in the news lately with what's happened in Texas. It could be large hail that causes damage. It could be lightning that strikes a house, starts it on fire, or hits a tree and the tree falls onto a car or a house. There are so many different ways when you have thunderstorms, even if there's not a severe thunderstorm warning, where the storms can still be dangerous. So we just want to keep you safe. When you have these afternoon thunderstorms like this in the summertime, the one thing a lot of you try to do, especially in the weekends, is try to be outdoors, right? You're trying to take a walk, or you're trying to be at the pool, you're trying to play around a golf, anything to be outside. Even though it is hot for some of you, you still do it anyway. Those of you who don't like the heat and you stay inside for the AC, that's all good too. But we want to make sure that you're safe, and if a storm is near your area, you want to make sure you take cover. That's why the WAFF 48 app, and we want you to use ours, don't get me wrong. We love our app. It's an awesome app, especially for TV standards. But just have a way to get updates too. Like Brad always tells me, I hear his voice come on. I was in Gurley yesterday, and he says, lightning detected 10 miles from where you are. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Because I have the app and I have it downloaded, and he's going to remind me if there's a storm near me, and it's great. Sometimes I'm not always looking at the radar. I like to actually have a day off, not be at work, and not pay attention to the weather for a day, So Brad telling me in my phone, take cover, heavy rain detected near your location, So it's all good. It's all good. Skylar says, we could have one, Skylar. The same setup as today. The same setup today as it has been for the last 7 days. You pop some storms, they're big rainmakers, a lot of lightning, and when they start to weaken is actually the concern, because they start to fall on each other. They whoop, and that rushes all the wind down to the ground. We actually had a little downburst in Jackson County last week, actually. And so it can happen. The storms, like, again, they don't have to be severe to have that happen. So it's always a good idea to stay on top of things and be aware. Kaylin, what's the weekend forecast looking like? Looking to plan to head to Smith Lake. Yeah, not great. Storms each day for sure. A lot of people asking me, look, do I have any time this weekend to be outdoors? Yes, you do. Very rarely do we have rain from start to finish in the summertime. It's not the same setup as it would be like in a November, where it's like a cool rain that can fall all day. So I would say Saturday through about 1 or 2 p.m. and then Sunday probably about the same time frame, where your morning and your early afternoon might be all right. But be aware into the afternoon, especially if you're going to be on the lake in Smith Lake, because the storms this weekend will have a lot of lightning with them and heavy rain and gusty winds like we've had the last week. And so I would say that most of the morning will be okay. You just got to keep an eye on the radar in the afternoon. And obviously, if a storm hits you in Smith Lake, you're going to want to pack it in for a little while and let that storm either go by, make sure it's far enough away, or, there'll be some areas this weekend, though, they roll the dice and don't get any storms and they miss out. And that could be the case for a few locations. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. It's a difficult forecast to pinpoint exactly like where you're going to be and say on Wednesday that you're going to have a storm at Smith Lake at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I just can't do that. It's beyond my knowledge. If I could do that, I wouldn't be doing this for a living. I'd be making a lot more money predicting future, and people, it'd be pretty awesome. But that's the scenario that we have for Smith Lake this weekend, okay? And for really everywhere in the Tennessee Valley and South. Lloyd says, appreciate all you guys do for us. You're the best. Oh, that's awesome, Lloyd. We think you're the best too for saying that. What do you think of that? That's good stuff right there. Greg, you're welcome for the updates. Thank you for coming on to Weather Extra too. We run these back every 10:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and then Brad's on 9:30 at night. And then we do a couple weekend Weather Extras too. I'm on around 8:15 in the morning, and then whoever's working the night shift covers the 4:30 Weather Extra. And we do this all to supplement our on-air presence as well, to give you updates on the weather. And also, you can always catch our notifications and our updates through the app as well. We do little type-ups there, and we print out everything, and so you can have it there at your disposal, at your fingertips, to keep it easy. We try to get many ways where you can get updates. It's good because if the forecast is right, you get to go see it. If you miss a forecast, everyone can see it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Jameson, one night I was sleeping and it was around 2 a.m. and a storm was nearby, and Brad appeared before, I want to see this, before me, telling me lightning was near my location. That was a strange dream. I guess I heard his alert in my sleep. I kind of feel that way about Brad sometimes too. I feel like I know when his voice comes on my phone, I'm either not at work and I'm being updated wherever I'm at, or I need to get to work because I probably should be there. But yeah, what a great way to get updates too. sometimes like your phone makes so many beeping noises and everything else. I know sometimes it's like white noise to me sometimes. But when his voice comes on the phone and says, you know, heavy rain, lightning detected, I mean, he's like literally talking to you at your location, which is like an awesome way to get updates, right? So I take full advantage of it. And that's why I have the WAFF 48 app, and it's pretty much the only app I use for weather. I mean, I have radar scope obviously too. But I always have the 48 app on, and I have it follow me where I'm at. What's really cool about the 48 apps, like say you go on vacation, say you're in Georgia, you're in Savannah, and you're having a great weekend, they will follow your location, and it will give you updates there as well. And I think Brad's voice comes on there too, and it will say, lightning detected, and he's here, and you're in Savannah. I'm pretty sure it does that. So I know Vacation Valerie uses the 48 app all the time when she goes on vacation, because she is Vacation Valerie. And she says it follows her too and gives her updates, which is pretty cool. So it can work not only locally, but when you go away as well, which is great. Dio from PC is in the house. Donna Oliver, good to see you. I'm going to pull up this 10 days so you can see it a little bit closer. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Hang on, I'm a mess. There we go. I'm not a mess now. So there's your 10-day forecast up close, and you can see it a little bit better. Temperatures consistent, around 90, a lot of humidity, and then the rain chances. And just can't really pull the rain opportunities out. I think there'll be days when we have the higher percentages in there with the 60s and 50s, and then you see some 30s. Maybe the 30s, what I would take from that graphic is the 30s doesn't mean that like it's going to be like very little rain. It means that whoever gets rain, it's going to still be heavy. It's just the overall coverage will not be as high as it will be on the days that are 50 and 60%. Remember, the percent is not a yay or nay. It's a, yeah, you're having a storm, but 50% of the area will have rain showers and storms. It's an aerial coverage percent. It's not a yay or nay. There was a big TikTok video about that. Once that hit TikTok, it was all day. Everyone started to figure it out. TikTok, you know. That's where you get all your information from nowadays anyway. So, TikTok. Are you a TikToker? No? Tatiana in the house, everybody. Tatiana is in the house here. I messed it up again. I can't get myself back to my double box. I messed up. I don't know what I did. I can't get my little circle thing back up. Look at me messing up. So now I hit the button again. That happened to me the other day. Nobody could figure it out. But you're here. Tatiana's like, I got you. You're good. All right, what we got going on? 10:50. 10:50. And yeah, that means that I have to wrap this up because TVL starts at 11 o'clock. Weather updates throughout the hour on TVL. Peyton will obviously be here doing her magic that she does every day. And Gina Benitez is back. She'll be here for the new newscast, and she'll have updates. Terrible 18-wheeler accident in Somerville this morning. We were covering it on air this morning. They actually had to shut down the road for a little while. It was an 18-wheeler, went up and over the embankment, down a little ravine. And last I know, the driver was actually very lucky and just minor injuries. But we'll probably have more on that. Shut down the road and made it so that if you were driving from essentially Arab, you take 67 all the way up to Decatur, usually get hooked onto Point Mallard Parkway, right? Couldn't do that today. So you had to take 36 into Hartselle and then go north on 65. And if you were doing the reverse, you had to go 65 and take 36. And obviously shut down parts. It was right by Cutoff Road in Somerville. So, and those of you who live in that area, 67 is a pretty heavily traveled area because a lot of you use it, especially if you live like southeast Somerville and you're trying to get to Decatur. That's your one way to go, right? So that was a big delay this morning. We also had a couple accidents on Research Park this morning too, right by Plummer Road. It seems like there was 2 of them. Caused a lot of delays. And we had a couple accidents actually out in Sand Mountain, Lookout Mountain. I wonder if the fog had something to do with that. It was near Pisgah on Alabama 71 and 40, right near the Dutton area, just west of Henniger. So yeah, it was a tough morning commute, but hopefully the evening storms will not impact the commute home. Yesterday, I imagine some of that heavy rainfall slowed some things down. I was driving from Huntsville to Gurley about 5 o'clock, and it was coming down pretty good, and Chapman Mountain up and over was really slow, and you could see the water going down Chapman Mountain. It was coming down so hard, and then there was like, you get into Gurley, and there's these big puddles on the side of the road, and Yeah, it was a lot of rain. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up. Everybody have a fantastic day. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be in here this afternoon and tonight covering any storms that do pop. And then Eric Burke will be back tomorrow morning, and he'll have the very latest on your forecast, not just for Thursday, but a look ahead for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be able to fine-tune the timing maybe of those storms a bit more for the weekend to give you a little bit better idea of exactly what part of the day will be affected more than other part of the day. And for now, I got to go. So everybody have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon.